Welcome, episode 30. Risk On, sponsored by FOMO, best multi-chain trading app in the game. We're all on FOMO. All four of us, I believe, are on FOMO. Lex recently joined as well. Join now. Use promo code Risk On for 50% off all trading fees. Anyways, yeah, the trenches have heated up a little bit. What do we see? We saw these couple coins running, Saul and Ralph, where people were growing things with Claude. Is that what's going on here? I played both of them without a deep understanding, but every time I log on to CT right now, all that I'm seeing is people vibe coding things. Like Frank vibe coding an app to cancel all of your subscriptions with like 200,000 views or something on Twitter.
Yeah, that was pretty cool actually. That was the first like decent little app I've seen come out of CT. The rest have been kind of slop. It's funny. No one's actually trying. It feels like no one's actually trying to develop anything cool at the moment. It's more just like everyone's still in like the figure it out phase. It's a bit like when ChatGPT first came out. That's what it feels like.
Did you guys see Bundrel come out with the Just Cancel It 2 this morning? Trying to vamp.
Yes.
I think he's charging $4 instead of $5.
He's trying to vamp. He's trying to vamp the Claude code and fucking masterpieces. That's crazy, man.
You guys know how to vibe code anything?
I've been giving it a shot. But it's a decent learning curve. Like, I think the people picking it up right now are going to be like the people are clowning Frank right now, but like I think he is kind of onto something, as in like he's given it a shot. Like he's trying things, and people are trying to call the top on vibe coding already, but I feel like it's kind of just getting started. It's going to be an interesting few months. Everyone's been calling for this like sort of like a Pumpfun version, like just for people launching Claude shitters, but we'll see about that.
Definitely props people trying to build things with it. Like, I mean, it's I saw, we're all just speculators here for the most part. So like me, I'm a speculator, so I'm going to personally wait for other people to build things. But
yeah, I can't believe I'm about to reference this guy, but I saw you already know what I'm about to say too, probably. I saw him.eth made a comment about like there is a vibe coding meta. It doesn't mean it's going to be like these like crypto tokens going up though. And like, as much as like, I don't want to like give him credit for that. I do think I agree with that statement where it's like this, obviously the vibe coding thing is going to produce a lot of cool new apps, and like people are going to figure out how to use it in more efficient ways and everything. But like, that doesn't necessarily translate to like Pumpfun, like Pumpfun tokens and projects, like, becoming like valid runners. I don't know, like it's possible, but I think there's a lot of excitement right now, understandably so, and there's not necessarily like a huge corollary to like how that's going to translate to stuff going on in the space. I guess you could say like, well, the fact that anyone with an idea can kind of create something now, there's a path towards it. But I think it's better to be patient and wait and watch all this unfold before just like, full porting into the first couple like little projects that come out. That's kind of my take on it. So
yeah, did you see Swizzle? Did you play the trophy tomato? It's Claude code is it's like someone building or growing a tomato with Claude code, and your favorite guy actually shilled it, him. And me and Wood sold early into his candle, so I guess we're the clowns.
Is that how people in the UK say tomato?
Yeah,
tomato.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, here we go. Getting
no,
clowns
and
actually,
do you guys remember there was this was like months ago, but there was this thing I was really bullish on called the best website ever.
I do remember.
And it never picked up
Dude,
traction.
you were so bullish on that.
It was so very similar. It was basically the same thing as what this is now. Like, it was just like a website that was like, it had a loop and it was like updating itself every 10 minutes or something like that. I thought that was super bullish, and this is like kind of a version of that. But this picked up steam for whatever reason. That didn't.
Yeah, I remember the best website ever. I was actually you had me convinced on that. I think I ended up losing.
I think I lost a lot of people money on that.
Yeah. Maybe even Lex.
I was one of them. Maybe even
Lex. Yeah.
I was definitely one of them, but I did play Ralph, and then I played the tomato. I sold into the him candle, and then like doubled from that. So I had to watch on the sidelines there. And then I played Ralph as like my coat play, the bags coin.
Yeah.
And I then sold that too early as well, because I have trench PTSD. But then it looks like the dev for that interacted with like a different coin, and then that rugged.
Oh, so, really? Ralph,
yeah.
Oh man, I didn't even see that.
It's funny because Bags was like trying to, like, Finn Bags was trying to make a comeback. We all thought that maybe he was going to redeem himself. He was going to send this one coin, and he was going to make Bags a thing again.
I was putting in Frank's group chat, like, let's leave Finn in 2025, and then someone let me know that I'm a dickhead, and Ralph is on Finn. So
I think you were going to get left in 2025 for a little bit.
Yeah, for a hot second I was. Finn overtook me. But
so what happened with why did it rug this morning or last night or whatever?
The dev interacted with a different token, and it was just like, this isn't the only token he's focusing on. So you know how that goes.
Oh man,
it's classic.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! I didn't know it was at 720k. Literally last night it was at like 500. That seems to be the top right now, doesn't it? Like the 5 or 6 mil area. Like, it's kind of seeing things trying to break out of that range. I haven't really seen that in a long time.
By the way, for those who are on right now, we're just fixing some tech issues with Lexapro. We're going to get them back up here in a couple minutes, but we're just going through some news and notes around the trenches until then. But we'll probably have Lex back on in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so.
I've been messaging him for a few minutes, and he just hasn't come back.
He's gone, man. He's just fucked
now. He just said,
he just left, man. He just left.
No. Click the link.
It's going to be good as well. We've got a lot of history with Lex, like us three alone. Just like, we've been in group chats with Lex for a long time, probably the whole character development arc through ETB, and there's a lot of stories to be told there.
The interesting thing about Lex too is, like, I'd say for the first half of the cycle, like probably before, I'm trying to think, it was probably MOODENG or something like that. He blew up after one of these tokens, but like, he didn't really have much of a following. He probably had a couple thousand followers for like the early stage of the cycle. And so he was just doing all the same stuff, these crazy long theses and everything that people make fun of him for now. Like, he was doing all of it, but he just didn't have the following. And I feel like all the backlash came when he started acting the exact same way with the following that he had. There's probably a lot of reasons why the backlash hit.
There's definitely some of the coins he was shilling. I want to wait for him to be here before we talk about him. But no, it is funny. It is funny. I think, I remember when everyone was saying, like, as soon as a new coin would come out, everyone's waiting for the Lexapro thesis, like the literal Bible length thesis to drop. He kind of front run the uni, like uni does these theses, like big long theses now. That was kind of the Lexapro arc before that. But yeah.
I mean, there was a time when just like everyone was mocking all these long form theses left and right. I mean, he would write, like, he does write. I think he's still doing the same thing.
He is.
Like, he has novel tweets.
But like, so I feel like before him and probably uni at the same time came up, like, long form theses were not in. And then there was like a little moment in time where, like, the long form thesis was respected, and unless you did the long form thesis, it wasn't valid. And that's when he kind of blew up. And then I think it obviously tailed off. People don't have the patience for it anymore.
Yeah, it was when we had this in the show notes, when he done the penis long form. The long form on the penis coin, that was sort of the turning point, I think, in the long form content arc. That was a tough one to digest, quite literally. So
we'll get to that later with him on. We can't talk about that without him. Give him a chance to explain himself.
We'll get to that. He just messaged me saying he thought he was in here talking with us.
Bro, this guy's on cloud. This guy's not even cloud 9, bro. He's on cloud 15 right now. He's on cloud 15.
Did you guys see White Whale got a Bybit spot listing?
Oh man, the crime scenes and
that's the craziest shit I've ever seen before.
Well, actually,
truly the craziest.
It was interesting because I think we were talking about it off stream, but like, I can't remember the last time there had been any like spot listings from centralized exchanges. And then you had White Whale get Bybit, and then this morning or last night, the Binance Lifecoin got Binance Spot.
Oh my gosh! Finally, bro! I ended up switching to my phone, so Glad I'm here.
We got him.
Glad you're here. One tip with the phone is you can't like leave the screen or it turns off.
Got
So,
you.
so you got to leave it on.
So you're locked in. Yeah, you're locked in. No info.
So you're locked in. You're locked into us, and you have to focus on just us for a little bit. All right, we got Lex on finally. We're all working now. Lex, we were just talking about trench coins and how it's heating up a little bit. Have you been trading recently? I know you've got your butthole thesis going on right now, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been kind of, I guess you could say on the down low. What was that?
Beehole, sorry, it's not butthole.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was just like a night degen. A bunch of friends were in it.
Yeah.
It just looked good. Plus, I like Kurt Vonnegut, and it had the same logo. So if I see it's up. But I've been kind of laying low a little bit. I've been waiting for a moment where I have like high conviction and I can go demon mode again. And it's been honestly like I've had a lot of things I've liked a lot that I've put like energy into. But with the market being the way it's been a little bit hard to go like all out. You know what I mean? So now that the market's heating up a little bit more, now I feel like I can kind of come out of my shell like that extra level.
Go demon mode.
Demon mode, yeah.
Go demon mode. But by going demon mode, do you mean writing the butthole thesis? Is that going demon mode?
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, the full thesis, the like all out, not sleeping for like 24 hours, until I haven't slept for 30 hours, and then we get a penis thesis. You know what I mean? That's the type of flow data.
Wait, so the penis thesis probably is like one of the funniest moments of crypto Twitter of 2025. Has to be my favorite moment of 2025 because you wrote that thesis and then everybody in their mother was like quote tweeting it or mocking you for it. Like all of crypto Twitter was on your case for it. When you wrote that tweet, like, were you like, you did say you were up for 30 hours, but did you like read it and be like, yep, this is it. Penis is going to billions. Like this is the best thing about
in my mind, there wasn't like it wasn't as serious as it sounded, you know what I mean? But I hadn't slept in 30 hours. Pretty serious fast. I twapped it on the timeline, and then in hindsight, it was like, oh shit, you know what? Just a little too much.
No, that was a good one. We had what else did you had as well? You had what was the other one that blew up? XBT.
The Diddy thesis.
Oh yeah, the Diddy thesis. Yeah, the Diddy thesis was a crazy one. That was up there with the penis show. Yeah, do you not remember the Diddy thesis?
More hate for?
Oh man, I don't remember the Diddy. I remember when the Diddy. Yeah. Well, I think I just like took it as a trade, right? I don't think I wrote like a long thesis on it. Thankfully.
You wrote a really long thesis.
He's saying it wasn't a long thesis for him.
For Lexapro, yeah. I mean, you did kind of invent the long form thesis as well. Like, was there anyone else doing these super long theses when you started, or like what was like your mindset behind this? Or was it just like these coins are so great, I have so many things I want to write about them, or were you trying to like make it into a thing, or like what? How did this process come to be?
No, man, I never was trying to make it like a thing or anything. I'm sure other people wrote some theses. I guess for me, it's like I like to yap. I'm a yapper. I like to talk. I like to write. So I think I just have a lot to say, and I owe you a thesis or a tweet. Like I'm sharing everything that I'm thinking or that I know with people, because at least for me, one of the hardest parts is like finding conviction in coins when other people call them, and that's how you make money. You make money when you start to have the same conviction that somebody else has, because then you're able to not worry about the dips. You're able to like contribute to it. Especially for me, like my favorite kind of coin to get behind is one that's like starting off and needs that like kind of foundation or that kind of thesis, like somebody to elucidate all of the parts of the narrative or all the ways that they can help, right? All the ways the bag workers can help. So that's always been like my goal, is to just lay it all out for everybody and to not leave any stone unturned. But as my account's gotten bigger, I've really needed to adapt and like spread that out, or, have some of those conversations privately. Like it just was super overwhelming. I really just didn't know how to adapt at the time. Still don't, to be honest. But yeah, anyways, that's how it started.
I think that's one of the... Sorry,
go on.
ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Go ahead, Zach.
When I think of Lexapro and when he started to blow up, what the coin I think of is MOODENG. And I know you have some funny stories around MOODENG and what happened after. What sort of was going on when you buy that? When did you get in that?
Oh man, yeah. So MOODENG, I aped at 2 mil market cap, and what had happened that day is I'd woken up, and the sleep wasn't yet out of my eyes. Like my vision was still blurry, and someone shared a contract address to a coin, and they said Crash Coin, and I was like, oh shit, it's Crash. Like the KOL. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like something. It was like called Loverboy or some shit. I was like, that seems like some shit that he was posted. I don't know. So I aped 200 Sol into it, and then immediately get Rus. Like, bro, like what? And they're like, no, and that's when I learned what Crash Coin means, which is like it's a coin that's going to crash, it's going to rug at some point. So I had no idea. That's how I learned, and I was like, that's a stupid, like you shouldn't call it a crash. Yeah. Anyways, so after that, it was like now I need to like make up for it because I've got people in my DMs like, oh man, like you're hurting right now, like you fucking suck, and I'm like, I'm feeling the pressure to perform. Then MOODENG comes and Twitter tweets, the hippo meme. And so I ate another 200 Sol into MOODENG, and I ended up trimming half of my like 1.5%, I think, at 5 mil just to like save face and like make up for how disastrous my morning had been. But if it died my morning had been, I would have held it all. Anyways, I love.
Wait, hold on, real quick, Lex. I'm gonna let you finish. But so you're saying that the whole trade started out as just a tilt trade, basically.
Basically, yeah.
and then the vision, because you went hard for this, then the vision for like why it was actually great came later on, but it was really just like I got to make a catch-up trade at the start.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, once because I didn't know what MOODENG was. I had no clue. It was just like that's the cute fat hippo. It's sort of
Fat hippo.
But very quickly it became apparent to me like how massive this was as a meme, and that's probably my favorite meme coin I've ever been in, to be honest. Just like the bag working. There was one guy who was like a Korean pop star who made like a whole DJ set with like giant projections of MOODENG like chomping his jaws and like fire behind him and like smoke and shit. It was awesome, man. It was great.
So
I bet you were loving that with your 1.5%, man. Jesus.
Yeah. I remember MOODENG because Lex, I was buying it like that day with you. You were like shilling it hard, and I was buying it. I think I bought like 6 or 7 million tokens, around like $3 or $4 million market cap, and then the chart kind of looked like shit after a couple days, and it hadn't really gone viral yet. So I sold it for like a small profit or something, and within an hour, Twitter reposted MOODENG. And then you became the MOODENG monarch, and it was and MOODENG was probably my biggest fumble of this cycle.
Oh man, yeah, it was a good hippo, bro. I remember who was it? It was TJ had like 3%. I think he round tripped the whole bag.
Did he? Oh man, I didn't know that.
TJ, you guys don't know TJ. TJ famously round tripped about $30 million.
Yeah, never got a new chair.
Never got a new chair. He's been on podcasts talking about that before, so I don't feel so bad talking about it here.
Mm-hmm. What so can I just to follow up before we move on from MOODENG? Like, obviously, it was a different time. Like, you could realistically hold things and be part of a community, and like the whole, it was just like the glory days of meme coins for sure. But like, Lex, you didn't hold everything to that degree, and you rode this all the way up pretty much. Like, what once it evolved, I know it was viral, but like, what gave you like the conviction for someone who's listening, who's like, kind of trying to understand how that era worked and all that? Like, what was your whole strategy within that, and what gave you the conviction to like really ride this out and become like a face of it and put enough on the line where you're holding massive size and for hire,
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, whenever I call something and I go hard for it, it changes the whole dynamic. And it's like half of it is conviction to hold. Yeah. But then the other half is like a feeling of duty to the community, which is part of why, the smear campaign and like the like constant lies of like, exit liquidity. But that's part of why that like pissed me off, because I've round tripped like 15 mil this cycle in the interest of like being a good community member and being a good KOL or whatever you want to call it. Like, I feel a duty to people that follow me. I don't want to like rate people. Like, I want stuff to go as high as possible. So even when I end up shilling at the top of the range and I'm like super bullish, like those are real authentic emotions, but I guess you could say, like, in terms of like the meme itself, just seeing how global this thing was, man. I mean, it's like, and my own enjoyment of it, like, it's just a cute fucking hippo. It's everybody loved that hippo. You know, everybody was talking about it. It's probably the most viral meme that we've had this cycle, I would say, right? I mean, is something eclipsed that virality? I don't think so.
And maybe apart from Peanut, that's about it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think
That's about it. I mean, and the community vibes, right? Like when I see a Korean pop star doing a DJ set around MOODENG, like it's very hard to consider taking profit. You know,
it's a bit like the whiff. The when everyone said whiff was topped back in the day when there was the whiff party and there was that guy on stage doing like dancing and shit. That was a crazy era, man. That was a crazy era.
Whiff was top, son.
Yeah, that was the top.
That was the top of Whiff.
When was the Korean doing that thing with MOODENG? Was that the top of MOODENG?
I think that was like 70 mil, maybe. So not the top.
Okay, yeah, not the top. Okay, all right.
Wow, it ran from there. Yeah, I feel like MOODENG had like the Twitter repost, and then just like everyone and their mother was reposting it, and it just hard sprinted up high. And then Coinbase, I think the Coinbase listing might have been the top, honestly.
That's right.
Yeah, but speaking of the hate, earlier prior to MOODENG, there was Billy. You were also an integral part of, and got a lot of hate, and there was a lot of drama about that. I mean, Billy was born during kind of time similar to now, honestly. Like Billy came around Smoking Chicken Fish time when nothing was running, and then Billy and SCF ran to 200 million in like a couple weeks simultaneously. How did like Billy come to be, and then also the downfall of Billy? That was one of the gnarliest down charts. Swizzle, you were the block graze of Billy for a bit, right?
I was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard to say about everything, but for me, Billy was like the moment that put me on. That was like the first moment where people knew who I was, you know? I aped, I think, a little bit around 500K and then a little bit more around a mil, and then started going demon mode for this thing. And it ripped really hard, like right out the gate, because Binance had interacted with a tweet, and it just worked too well. Binance, or Billy to a Billy to Binance, like it just fit the meme too perfectly. So this thing ripped, I think, to like 70 mil or something, and then was back down around like 30 mil, and then or something like that. I can't remember, but for any matter, it was already at a pretty high market cap, and the dev had sold like sub 1 mil or something. So he was coping hard all the way up. And he started really trying to farm the community by launching other coins from the deployer. He launched a coin called Holdy and then another one called Celebi. And then he'd go into the Telegram of Billy and start shilling this new coin, which, as we all know, is like super bearish. Like people were selling, the chart started dipping, it caused problems. So I started calling him out and taking like a leadership role and basically just being like, fuck you, this is a scam, blah, blah, blah. And so then he started getting upset because his charts would nuke. And other people got upset with me too. And the audacity for people to be pissed that Celebi's dipping or something. But anyways, yeah, so he got upset and he rugged all the socials and he blamed me for it. He said, if you want to get upset at somebody because the Twitter and the Telegram and everything's gone, then blame Lexapro. So
Wait, how are you getting blamed for that?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, I mean,
what did you do?
Somehow being the lightning rod for all blame, I think in this case it was because I was the only one really calling him out, or the only one with some influence calling him out for farming, basically.
What ended up happening after that? What was the downfall? Because I remember there was loads of listing drama. You had a big drama with B-Sol at one point.
I donated a bunch of money for the Billy listing.
Yeah.
I still haven't gone back. Should I come to Lexapro for a refund or what?
Bro, I still have like what, it was 100K at the time, and I think should be like 20, 30K now. But yeah, we all gave money to B-Sol and them for listings, and then she just like kept it. I don't know, but
that is crazy. That is crazy.
B-Sol kept it, we think.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is what's crazy, man, is like I legitimately did nothing wrong around Billy at all. Like I was a fucking saint. I worked my ass off. I round tripped about 2 mil on that, which for me at the time was the biggest win I'd ever had. Like that was massive. So, I round tripped that in the interest of like being a good, supporter. And I was not invited to the team chat. I was excluded from that, even though I was kind of, like an essential part of this whole thing. And very quickly, like there started to be this tension between her and I, because I think she felt she wasn't getting enough credit. Everybody loved me and was showering me in praise, and everybody hated her and was hating on her. I couldn't do anything about that. I tried tweeting and giving her shine, giving her credit. Hey guys, like B-Soul's a trooper. She's done so much work, and it didn't matter. She just continued to get more and more pissed, and so eventually this chart was just melting down. There was a lot of FUD around her. She had told everybody that or she had insinuated, not told everybody directly, but insinuated that we were getting Binance because everybody had expected that. And eventually it just was clear that it was not happening. And, she just tried to make herself the center of attention. So the whole FUD cabal started attacking her. And that combined with the price action just made the whole experience very ugly. Yeah, it just melted down, and I finally exited once it was like minus 85%, I think, and it broke a key level of support. And I realized, like, at this point, me shilling it is doing more harm than good. Anybody that buys here is going to lose money, and that was true going down after that.
So Lex, I feel like of any character in crypto Twitter, we titled this episode the most polarizing character. Like I'm just curious because there's always a valid explanation, it seems, but we've been around you enough and we've seen, like, obviously, like, stuff gets tense when there's a big run on something, and then eventually, as most meme coins do, they end up going down 90% at some point. But, like, how do you constantly find yourself in the middle of drama like this? Like, it just seems like every major, at least with meme coins, like every major scandal or spat, and like I'm a person who I don't spend much time on Twitter, but I feel like I'll pop in and I always see some back and forth. Is it just because you engage with the comments, or like what is it that makes everything around what you do so polarizing and controversial? Like, there's got to have been at least 5 or 6 scandals here. So what?
Oh yeah.
Can you just explain it from your perspective? Like, what's going on here that there's always some drama going on?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more than 5 or 6. I mean, think about this. Before Useless, how many spats or drama was there? It was only one, really. It was B Soul. That was it. And then after Useless, it was nonstop. So it's tough to talk about this on a podcast, especially when it's kind of lighthearted and we're all like, kind of chilling. But really what had happened is Alan had reached out to me to be a KOL for Pumpfun. He'd offered me $20K a month. And I turned him down. But when I turned him down, it wasn't like a fuck you or anything. It was more like I at the time I retardedly felt like it was like a sign of respect. He was asking me for, to support everything that they're doing, to not compete, etc. And I was like, yeah, like I can do, like, you don't need to pay me for that. In my mind, that's what I was thinking. You don't need to pay me. I'll do that for free. I didn't vocalize that though. And so I think in hindsight, maybe he was offended or felt like I was switching sides when I supported Useless. So Useless was the day that everything changed for me, and my whole life changed, right? My whole time on CT changed. And that's when this really, like, a kind of a machine of optics and financial, social control was kind of turned against me. And again, it's a very hard thing to discuss on a podcast without really going into the nitty gritty and providing a lot of evidence. But ever since then, I've had this machine kind of aimed at me, both from Pumpfun KOLs, Pumpfun KOL alt accounts, the various different kind of botnets or networks that they've created for marketing and support of their own platform, then turned against me, and then also on chain. So oftentimes projects I'm supporting being max bidded by some of these people, and then the first chance they get, kind of raping it through support, and then immediately afterwards taking to Twitter to FUD and attack. It sounds crazy. It sounds sensational, but it's extremely true. All of it is very true. I'm not saying I haven't done anything wrong.
Is he gone?
Lose him?
We might have lost him. Pumpfun, let's take him out.
Be Pumpfun doing it. They're inside the computer, man.
Alon just shut him down from the outside, man. Crazy. He was talking too much.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for him to come back, I'm sure we'll get him back. Thoughts from you guys on?
Yeah, we back, Lex.
Sorry, guys, we're getting absolutely mogged.
No, that was Alon, wasn't it?
That was Alon.
It's not you.
He was coming for you.
It's Alon. It's
Oh,
Alon.
no. Yeah, it's even worse occurring at the most conspiratorial part of the podcast.
So you had a follow-up question, Spez.
Yeah. I want to follow up on, like, not on like the personal as much, like the personal vendetta you're speaking about that's been going against you, but like I am curious because what you're talking about with Pumpfun offering KOLs, these types of deals back. I don't know if it's still happening or if this was, a few months back, but like this is kind of that part of like crypto Twitter that a lot of people speculate on, and like from those of us on the outside, we think like we assume this is going on. We don't know how it works. What was your experience with that? And like, can you get into like what they were actually doing at the time and like what the goals were? Like, was it in your mind, was it legitimate or was it shady? What was going on? Like, I think a lot of people would be curious to really get a peek behind the hood of what Pumpfun was doing and like understand if this was damaging or beneficial for the space.
Yeah, I mean, I think my opinion of Pump Fun prior to the Launchpad Wars was positive. Um, uh, and I think the idea of like bringing on KOLs on its own is not so terrible. Like what they'd offered me was pretty chill. Like if they'd offered everybody the same deal, then I would say, okay, that's not a big deal. You know, it said there was no exclusivity. Can shill whatever you want wherever you want. All you really have to do is support the app. You know, we're going to come out with the movers section, highlight the movers. We're going to come out with the news section, highlight the news. So when you see people on Twitter that are like constantly posting the news or the movers, like those are Pump Fun KOLs, almost all of them. And that on its own is like whatever. But what they started doing is going far beyond that. So and some of this I can't talk about because it's a little too revealing about what they were doing. But they started after that really pursuing people that would attack people, FUD, and kind of influence public opinion in some very like coercive, ugly ways. And so beyond that point, once Useless launched, the strategies they used were just like beyond ugly, like fucked up. And that's part of why I didn't realize how culpable they were in a lot of this, because it just seemed too evil, you know, like I'd already met with Alan. He seemed like a nice guy. Like we're all cool. So the idea of like them intentionally trying to spread rumors that I was like a bundler, a rugger, a scammer, that like I was dangerous, you know, the idea of them trying to destroy opportunities for me, the idea of them trying to like encourage this environment where people were sabotaging me on chain, all because I supported a meme coin that wasn't on their launchpad. The idea of that was just too preposterous to me to wrap my head around. But as time has gone on, and the more information I've come across, the more I've realized like that's absolutely what was happening, and more so than I realized. And at this point, uh, I'm not sure how deep it goes or how malicious or vindictive it got. I don't even know to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was like a stretch of time where Pump Fun got the benefit of the doubt for a lot of stuff. And it was kind of like, even when they did things that kind of gave yellow flags or seemed suspicious, it was kind of like, well, these guys have this master plan. They're a few steps ahead of the game or whatever. And then as time went on, it was like these things didn't land. It was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe they're not so strategically mapped out as we thought. And I think when the Launchpad War stuff came and the bonk, especially when bonk started to take a bunch of the market share, it kind of became very apparent, but people were just resisting it. I'm not sure why. Like, I remember the other co-founder of Pump on Noah went on the Unchained podcast at one point, and like this was right when they had lost market share, and Laura Shen kept asking about Bonk as a competitor, and they would basically try to play off this idea that they didn't even know what Bonk was. They'd call it the dog one, as if they didn't care, as if it wasn't a concern. But then you had all this stuff happening on the other side where they're like, clearly, and now we know for a fact, they're trying to pay KOLs and like do all these things in a way to really try to like spread misinformation and denigrate their opposition in kind of like a dirty way. You seem to have been part of that, where it also affected your personal brand, but like you saw behind the hood as it was happening before the rest of the kind of ecosystem started to learn about it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's part of what was so frustrating, because it's like some of the stuff that they're doing is brand new that we haven't seen in this space before. Some of it isn't, right? Like the idea of using a Discord where you have persons of interest and then like specific lines used to disempower them. That's something I've been told has been around for a couple cycles now. But what we didn't have is like networks of like botnets where they have the same kinds of commands or the same kinds of persons of interest, or these kinds of like FUD FNFs. It didn't exist in this way that was so malicious or targeted. So it was hard people just didn't realize what was happening. I didn't realize what was happening for a long time. So Yeah, I mean, that was very frustrating. Like all of this happening to me, more so than anybody else too. That's part of what's so vindictive about it is that like I ended up getting it worse than any of the bunk guys or anyone. I'm sure part of it was because I was engaging, but I believe the other part of it is because of how much of an influence B Soul had on this particular group of people who played a hand in a lot of this. That's from what I gather. That's what had happened.
Would you say the turning point for you, if you, I think this like the turning point was Useless then? What sort of happened when Useless launched?
Yeah, so useless launches. I buy it 150K. I'm
Yeah,
not
put
the
it in
best.
ETB.
Yeah, an ECV, an ECV. So
Yeah.
we all, and then lay a thesis out, and then it goes to like 30, 40 mil. And then on the 16th, what was it, March or May? I think it was March.
May.
May.
I think it was May.
May. So on the exact 16th of May is when the Pumpfun smear campaign kicked up. The exact date. And that, I mean, I've gone through and basically, assessed everything and analyzed and used AI and basically laid it all out. Every single mention of me being in the LA Vape Cabal, every mention of bundling, every mention of rugging, every ugly thing that's ever been said about me started on May 16th, and they just came out with their campaign all at once. And there's a lot of details about this and the people involved that I've figured out over time that I kind of can't share because just there's stuff ongoing, but it very much was like a militia. Like they just kind of came out with a full campaign against Useless, against the rest of the space, that were involved with Punk, and against me. And this just kind of continued on and on and on for what, 5, 6 months. I didn't realize what was happening for the first couple of months, and then even then, it still was too preposterous. It was still too like evil in my mind. So it took me a little bit longer to put all the pieces together. But yeah, anyways, that's a long answer, but it was May 16th, the exact day.
Yeah, no, that was good. When what sort of happened? Was it MLG after that, and then you went on Aiden's stream and you were in the back there with what was so called the LA Vape Cabal then?
No, 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 no. So I didn't go on that stream. Thank fucking Christ.
I thought you were in the back. I remember someone telling me you were in the back.
No, but that's part of what's so is like I don't even know the quote unquote LA Vape Cabal so well. You know what I mean? Like I've hung out with Frank like 3 times, maybe. So it's like and honestly, they were in some ways victims of the same kind of hate campaign, or at least a couple of the same character. I don't know. It's a whole other conversation, but yeah. So I got dragged into that, even though I really had nothing to do with any of we were not the same group.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just remember that all blowing up around the MLG situation because I remember you done a long thread on MLG as well, didn't you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I called it at 100 mil. It went to 250 mil. It was a great trade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro.
No,
So I might be mixing up timing, but so MLG, and then a little while after all that, and this is when things went really south for the Vape Cabal. And I feel like unfortunately, you had just started kind of like entering into their network, or like, not associating, but like you just started spending time with them, and the whole Libra thing happens. Is that right? Do I have the
Yeah, I guess
chronology right
you
there?
could say that. Yeah, because I'd moved back to LA because I'd been in Chicago for school, and then I moved back to LA finally, and so that was around the same time.
Yeah, tough timing because for the whole space, Libra happens and it's just an absolute disaster. I think everyone in that group, I'm thinking about Frank for sure, even Thread, like all these guys just had to go radio silent for months.
Yeah, but I had nothing to do. You know what I mean? Like I had nothing to do with that. I'd hung out with Frank like one time by then. So it just, but there's no amount of explaining that I can do when they've paid millions of dollars, or I don't know if it was millions at that time. It's millions now probably, but at the time it was like a tightly concentrated group of hardcore fudders full time. And then they've got their KOLs, and then they've got their tier 2 KOLs, and then all those guys have their alt accounts and their little like networks. And so it's hard to argue with like what is essentially like, the propaganda arm of CT.
Yeah. Actually, dude, I'm sorry to shift topics like this, but on a lighter note, I want to go back in time for a second because we were talking about this. You can talk as much or as little about it as you want. I don't know how comfortable you are, but after the first like big trade you hit was MOODENG, right? And after that, is it true you went to Thailand, or you basically vanished for a couple months after that trade? Can you can you tell us what happened to Lexapro?
This is true. This is 100% true.
Maybe I'm not setting this up. Maybe you can set it up better, but
yeah.
But
Like,
we have been
Cappy
wondering
and
what
I
happened.
started ETB together months like 2 years ago out of the Billy chat, and we had a chat, just you, Cappy, and I, if you remember that. And I was trying to do something, and I couldn't get in touch with you for months, and then you just popped up one day like, yeah, I've been in Thailand for a while, man.
Oh no, I love it. Yeah, I mean that probably.
And I turned you in 2 months probably.
Bro, I do remember that lapse, right? Because we were in contact all the time, and then after that, there was like a break, right? And then we reconnected. I do remember that. Yeah, man. I mean, so MOODENG, and around that time was the first time that I was like financially free and like a multimillionaire. That was like the first time, and Thailand for me was like, I made it. That was like my like getting home. So yeah, I was kind of not plugged in at the time, and then came back. But I mean, it wasn't nothing too crazy in Thailand, bro. Nothing
Nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy.
What MIA?
Not giving us
Months
the
in
juice,
Thailand. No one heard.
Yeah, nothing too crazy went down.
Sorry, that's just one of my favorite things about you, Lexapro. Is like me thinking like you just left CT because you retired off of MOODENG, and one day you popped up like, no, not good. Like, I'm good. I've just been in Thailand with the
fun returns. No, it was good, man. I mean, it's a good time to step away. If anything, that's the moment.
Yeah, it's just after a big win.
For sure. So I want to go back to Useless, by the way, because the four of us plus a broader group of people really were the primary influence of the initial run up of Useless. Like, I remember being in the chat and trying to fucking pay for decks, and I never paid for decks before, but I paid for the first Useless decks.
That's right.
I did. I couldn't figure it out, and you got the artwork done for the Useless, for like everything, and then we were all like arguing about like the creative direction of it or whatever. And then the coin goes to 30-40 million. This guy Sammy nukes like 1% on the chart around 40 million. XY gets angry, and then everybody just starts to PvP it down to what, 5 or 6 million over the course of a week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then it was something like that. So then I sold most of my position around like 20-30 million or so. And then Thats, I don't even know when you sold.
Yeah, I sold at like 15 mil as well. I got fucking shook out on that.
We got shook out.
Yeah, I had like 3% at one point. I think 2.5% maybe. And and I remember dealing on the first run up when the dev was minting NFTs and we were trying to pay him off.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
we were trying to pay off the dev.
Yeah,
and DMs like yelling at him, man.
You guys want to hear a crazy story about Useless?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So, I obviously with you guys, I think I bought like 2% around 1 million, 2 million or whatever. And I had a friend who was like not in crypto very much at all, but he's in one of our side chats, really kind of just like dabbles here or there, owns some Bitcoin, owns some ETH from 2021, never does anything. I'm talking to him and he buys Useless at like 5 million market cap, sizes in more than he ever has in meme coin. And it, this is on the first run up, runs all the way to 40. Anyways, it starts retracing when all that stuff happens, and I end up going to my bachelor party. I'm getting married. I'm in Vegas with all my friends, and this is when the chart is just getting destroyed. Like, everyone is cutting. Lex, I think, it was a hot topic because a bunch of people saw you selling at 20 million. You're like, what am I supposed to do? It completely lost support because everyone's selling on top of each other. And I just decided, for whatever reason, I was like, man, I'm at my bachelor party. I'm not going to think about any of this stuff. I'm just going to log off. And it goes all the way down to like sub 5 million. And I remember my friend comes into the room, like we had been at a pool party. He comes down, he's like, look at Useless, man, it's down 90%. What should I do? And, we'd all been drinking most of the day. And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you. This is how crypto works. Like, you should probably sell. I'll probably sell when I get back home on Monday. So he he's there like laying on the floor in the room and sells everything. And this had been like his biggest, his biggest crypto win he'd ever had. And then he round tripped it all and sells like break even. And then that night I didn't even know, I wasn't even online. That's when it started that crazy run up where it just went straight to like 200 million with no breathing at all.
Is that when Uni tweeted about it? Like,
yeah, something like that. And I legitimately probably would have sold on Monday when I got home, but by the time I got back home, it had pumped 200%. And I was like, all right, I guess we're on for the rocket ship ride. But yeah, I started and ended my friend's crypto career.
But there was a lot of drama then between you and the bonk guys after that, Lex, too. So at first we had the pump drama, and then we moved into, so useless happens, the pump guys are disowning you, and then the bonk guys, something happens there too, right? And you're kind of getting it from both angles all at once.
That's so yeah, supporting useless and moving over to bonk is to this day probably my biggest regret of my entire CT career, because I'd seen bonk struggling to create culture, and I knew that I could help do that. So I've been on the lookout for a coin that I felt I could do what I do best and infuse creativity and vibes and bring creative people into it and lead the masses, just because it was a great investment opportunity. And I saw that with useless, and that's what I tried to do. And so this runs up, like you said, and then everyone's kind of selling on top of each other. But really the core issue wasn't, sell pressure, anything like that. The core issue was that like the people holding the supply outside of us had no interest in like creating value or cultural value, and I sometimes don't give you guys enough credit because like it was us, Wood, like we were the ones like doing stuff, but there were a lot of other people in the bond community holding supply that just did not participate. And that was like a big problem. So this thing's bleeding and I'm getting attacked. And so I'm kind of like trying to explain, like, guys, like we need culture, we need vibes, we need bold posts, like we need all this creative value. And so it keeps going down. And I basically expressed to Tom, to Cadence, to Bonkai, like, guys, like none of this stuff that's needed to create a real cult or culture is being produced. Like nobody's doing a good job with this. Like this is important. And I said, like, the only option we really have outside of creating real vibrant culture and vibes is to just let it bleed down and then supply control it and then cabal it back. And I'm told, no, like, that's not what we're going to do, and I'm told that by all three of them and others. And so, but then that's what they did. Right. And so, I don't know why, like I'd put a lot of work into this. I'd found somebody to be the dev, like I'd done a lot of work, and I felt like I came to the other side of the aisle and did not expect to be choosing a team, but that's what happened. I was kind of forced to be Team Bonk, and I put my name and rep on the line and put a lot on the line, and they didn't seem to value that or appreciate that enough to be honest or transparent with me about what was happening. So ultimately, I tried to protect my profit on the way down, and when they cabaled it back, I didn't have a bag, and I was pretty offended about that. It kind of hurt. And so I wasn't like super mad or anything, but as it started to go up, like I kind of was like, okay, well, what are we doing now? And so I just was kind of kept in the dark the whole way. And then it was like the person I brought on as a dev didn't have a bag because of the way things were handled. And so I was pressing for them to get a bag and they didn't get it. It just was the whole thing. I felt very used. And so I was not like super ugly about it, but the result of it was like this resentment towards me, it felt like. And at the very end of it, the result was me being on the outside and very much excluded and like treated like an op. I think that's been my experience anyways. It was really unfair in my opinion, and it sucked. It's been terrible, man.
Yeah. And do you think that like the bonk people would see the situation similarly? Do you think that they strategically didn't want you in it? Do you think that, maybe, for me at least, I sold the coin because I got shook out, right? It's simple as that. Like, they didn't communicate with me, but like, I didn't communicate with them either. Do you like, could it just be as simple as like, you got shook out of it, and there was no malicious intent? Or do you really think?
Well, I wouldn't have sold. I would have kept a sizable bag if it weren't for those conversations, because I was like very insistent all the way down. Like this is what needs to happen, because if there's no vibes, there's no culture, there's no real bag working, the content isn't well done, and there's no intention to like grab a decent chunk of supply and go around to hedge funds and bring other KOLs in. Like if they didn't do that, it wouldn't have sent, So I sold. I sold because I was like, this is, and I probably wouldn't have kept the same size bag, but it wouldn't have been so like much of like a punch in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was the dishonesty that really like fucked with me, right? Like, I remember vividly for like asking for like the third time, doing the rounds to everybody, asking again. It was bleeding. I think it cut through the 10 mil support, and that was when I just let go of the last bit. It's like, this is just going nowhere if they don't intend, to really put the work into coordinating all of this, and they don't intend to do the work on the other side. Like, I'm one person, I can't do all of this, and or I'm, there's only a few people at that point. So yeah, I definitely would not have held 2% all the way up, but I also wouldn't have just been totally excluded from this thing that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into.
So, dude, like I hear you on it, but just like to take the other side for a second, devil's advocate, like respectfully, uh, like at the end of the day, it's a meme coin, right? So it's like there's no fundamentals. It's supply and demand. Like the thing is either going to pick up momentum or not. What I'm hearing, and I don't want you to like take this the wrong way. I just want to like facilitate the dialogue. But like it went down, it got to a point where you felt like it couldn't succeed anymore, and then you sold, and then it went back up. Like, aren't there's tons of examples of us all fumbling bags where it's like this is kind of the game, and like it would have been nice if you had like inside information about what was going to happen, but like none of us operate with that on all the trades that we take, right? And so like there was no way to know what was going to happen. Obviously, there was like clearly some coordination from people to try to like keep it alive and survive, but then like, you know, the momentum that took off was relatively organic at the end of the day, in the sense that like people had to buy, there had to be more buyers than sellers. Like
Yeah,
people had to buy the coin, and they
type
did.
of bid it got was organic in my opinion.
So
At the end,
like I just
let
don't understand fully to say like, I was wronged on this, when it's like, you know, I was in the same situation as you. Like I got lucky because I was probably, like just not online and wasn't checking, super closely. But like many times where it happened to me and I sold, this time I decided to hold. And like, isn't there something to be
I
said with that? You either believe in something or you don't. And, sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. And like in this case, unfortunately, it went up after you sold.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think you're wrong that there was not a creative value. I mean, because meme coins are about cultural value. It's about creating a cultural value, and there was zero at the time. I mean, and it was not organic, guys. It really is. I mean, I've gone on chain. It's literally just it's these man. I don't want to like say bad things and be complaining, but it was cabal. It was straight up cabal. They supply controlled it. They brought hedge funds in. They market made it. They brought in big names. They brought in big people. They grabbed enough supply to OTC. They OTC bigger names. They did the same thing that like I know how the game works. Like I can do the same thing. Like I know what they did, and they did the exact thing they said they weren't going to do. And because they said they weren't going to do it, I sold it, and I felt like I had some license to know what was happening when I was the only one. Like it was all I was doing all day every day. It's like if anybody deserved to have some kind of knowledge of what was happening, I ended up basically being the dev. Like, and I didn't want to be, but this was the role that I was put into. And I think this is a reoccurring problem with Bonk, is that they don't value the value that creates the value. They don't value the people that create the value for their coins, right? Like Printer, for instance, on 67, like he was the heart and soul of that, and he was not brought into the conversations. And he was kind of kicked out towards the end, and the attitude was like, well, now that he's sold, we're gonna cabal the shit out of it. And it's like, man, like he sold at like minus 95%, and their attitude was like, well, now we're going to send it ultra hard to spite him. And it's like, that's the problem. It's like, anyways, I don't want to say bad things because I have respect for everybody there. I get it. I think at the end of the day, the real issue is that these guys are kind of boomers. The whole part of creating culture for a meme coin is not like a like concept that they're super familiar with. And in order to bring people like me in, or people like Printer in, or whoever creates the real value that like deserves to know what's happening, in which it is, in my opinion, a great injustice when they're kind of lied to or excluded. In order to do that, you need to have a firm understanding of who these people are. Are they trustworthy, or is the little bit of untrustworthiness like worth the risk? Like you need to be able to take risks. That's what it is. And Pumpfun is very good at taking those risks, and that's why they're king, because they take those risks every single day. And Bonk they struggle with that very much. They're doing a lot better now. Like shit piss skin coin, like that's a nice example. They figured it out now. I think it's because they brought Mello and some people in, but Prior to that, it was like the bureaucratic machine of like, destroying dreams of bag workers, in my opinion.
destroying dreams of bag workers.
Dreams of bag
That's a crazy quote.
Someone started off.
Do you think your dreams were destroyed by Bonk? Do you think your dreams
I
were destroyed as a bag worker?
I think it was very, very fucked up, and it hurt, and it was already at a very difficult time, right? Because I'm already being attacked, so it's like I'm being mauled by a group of people I never had anything against, and now the other group of people is spitting in my face and kicking me to the curb. It's like I'm dying out in the street bleeding. It was a very fucked up series of events, which is why I say I regret ever getting involved. But again, I don't have anything against anybody. I've got a lot of love for Cadence, for Tom, for Bonk Guy. At the end of the day, like, these guys are doing their best to try to help the space. The space needed them, and I think they've all been like massively disrespected in ways that like it never should have been. So I don't want to pile on to that. Like, I'm not happy with the way things happen, but I don't have anything against them like now. I'm not like pissed at them
All right.
now.
Lex, I've got a question here. So you've been involved in a lot of drama. Like, we just went through a few examples. We'll cover some more. Have you ever, at a certain point, if drama keeps finding you, maybe you're bringing something on. If you had to pinpoint something that maybe you were doing to bring this drama on, what do you think it would be? Like, what do you think? What do you think that about you or your actions that inspires people to hate and to like attack you like this? Because like no one else in CT is getting attacked like this.
Well, you have to understand, like first off, yes, like my main issue is I'm too involved in everything all the time. Like, at the time of Useless, I was helping with Useless. I was helping with Housecoin. I believe I was also helping with Unicoin some. And like a bunch, like, it's like I would go 24 hours without sleeping, sleep for 8 hours, 24 hours without sleeping. So when you're involved in so many things all the time, and you've somehow ended up in this like very central mindshare position, it's very easy for everything just to come back to you or be weaponized against you. It's something that is very tempting for people. Like, for instance, I helped Lix with Lucky Coin, and they shared it with me at 100K, with the insinuation that like I would like champion this thing. And I told them from the start, like, I don't know, man, like, I'm just, I'll give you some advice and some input. I was pretty clear, and then I ended up making like 200 SOL on it. And to them, that was like enough to like hate me forever. And that's my fault for getting involved in something where I wasn't going to be there totally, right? And I've done that many times, where I've gotten involved in something and I wasn't capable of putting like my heart and soul into it. I don't know. Anyways, for every one thing where there's drama, there's 5 things where there's not, right? It's just nobody talks about the 5 things that go well. Like, most people had no idea that I was involved in Unicoin or helped with Unicoin, right? Most people have no clue, like, all the good stuff that I've done because I'm doing it in DMs or, whatever.
Man, I feel like I'm learning so much about the trenches right now. I don't even know all these names of these people you're referencing. Like,
or coins.
I'm just thinking about like our perps traders and like our like majors traders who are on this, and they probably, there's like a foreign language, like the world.
This is trenches. Some deep trench CT lore going on right now.
So to be fair, I got to give it to you. Like, yeah, you are right. No one remembers the good stuff, because at the end of the day, you did make a lot of coins go up in the past. Like, you did mention Housecoin there, and I would put that down to you. Like, Housecoin did kind of go up off your back, and then obviously Ansem Shield, and it went crazy.
And that's an impossible spot to be in, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's like you were a huge part of, like, you're the only person talking about Housecoin, and then it goes up to 100 million or whatever, and it's like then everyone's watching to see if you sell. It's like, well, at some point you got to be allowed to take some profit, right? Yeah. But that's not how this internet world works.
You are fighting a losing battle, as in you're shilling things that are eventually going to be at zero, and that's the tough reality. And so it's a hard game to win in, especially long term. But yeah.
And that would be my answer to you, Lex, on like why one of the reasons the drama like always comes is you engage with the comments and the sub comments and all that. Like, that's just a hard place to live in, because you're never going to satisfy those people no matter what. But you seem to, like, it's just part of you that you continue to engage with anything and everything. And I think that makes it a tough existence, especially in this type of ecosystem, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've stopped. I've chilled. Well, now that I've realized how contrived a lot of it has been from Pumpfun, I've stopped, right? Once I realized that, it was easier to just like not engaged, but you have to understand how many of these people like I felt like were friends, or it's or just like when people call me like a bundler or something. It's like, dude, I've never bundled one single time, like never, right? So it's hard not to engage when there's such insane accusations, but realizing that they're coming from a Discord with a group of people that have all been coordinated by one group, it's different. So I'm doing better, but it's not easy suddenly being thrust into the position of quote unquote main character or semi-main character, whatever, and having no idea how any of this works, and nobody really reaching out to me to like help. That was, yeah. It's hard, man. It's not as easy as it seems.
You mentioned never being in a bundle. I think what's the one coin everyone thinks you bundle? Was it XBT? And you had some drama with
No,
the
man.
Meteora team or something like that?
Bro, I didn't ape until fucking 20 mil. I aped 1,000 soul at 20 mil. And then the team topped me off with like 50 soul worth bag or something. And then because they'd given me a bag that was like so small, I ended up feeling guilty selling even at a loss. So I lost 200K on XBT, like straight up, like not a good time.
Yeah, fucking hell. Jeez, I didn't
Are
even know.
teams topping off? Like, is that like a normal practice?
Often, I mean, it depends. Not often, sorry, but it happens. Like if you want, a bag or something or whatever. But I've thought about just making a list of all the times I've ever been given a bag, just to prove to people like how good I've been. But it's only been a few times, and anytime I've gotten a bag, I've either lost an insane amount of money or it's been a massive win. So, and that's only a few times, and I've never accepted a bag to shill a meme coin. Like if I shill a meme coin, it's coming from like my passion, like it straight up every single time.
Yeah, your passion definitely shows through on some of your famous tweets. I mean, I didn't think it'd be possible to be as passionate about a penis coin as you are. So if there's anybody passionate, it's definitely fucking Lexapro.
But for a second here, let's think about any instance where there's been a controversy or drama, because every single one of them, post useless, Pumpfun was involved with in some way. I know that sounds crazy or conspiratorial, but that is the truth. Think about how much drama there was around me before useless. Zero, zero, never, none. Post useless all the time. And I can go through each instance and point out, like, this is why this chart got wrecked. This person from Pumpfun aped 40K when I shilled and nuked it the first chance they had through support, and then went to Twitter to FUD. That was like a regular occurrence. Buy the shill, nuke support, FUD on Twitter. Like these are the kinds of things that these guys are doing, not just on Twitter, and Bruce, right? And they have multiple.
Do you feel like you cheat? It's a bit like you cheated on your girlfriend, as in Pump Fun, and then you went with Bonk, and then they kind of cheated on you, and then they both ended up shitting on you, kind of.
That's the thing. I never felt like I was cheating. Like it was like I like useless. You know what I mean? Like it was like I didn't want to have a loyalty to any launchpad. I wanted to just show what I wanted to, but I guess I was viewed as a threat enough to create all this. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it's not fun conversation. That's why I'm trying to stay out of it. But when we talk about,
I'm having fun. I'm actually having fun right now. So
yeah, it's interesting law.
Good. It sounds crazy, but these things are going to come to light. Like a lot of this is not yet known to the space, but is like stuff's going to happen. It's.
Do you think there's a lot more to come out about Pump Fun then?
There's a lot more to come out. Yeah, a lot. And yeah, it's.
They're dealing with some lawsuits right now too, right? I mean, I don't think it's related to any of this stuff, but
it is.
They seem to be taking some heat. Oh, it is related.
It is related.
Very much so. Yeah. So I've had people reaching out.
Are you like aware? Could you give us if you're involved, wherever? Like, don't disclose anything confidential, but like, can you give us a breakdown of like what the lawsuits they're dealing with are and like how they're related to this stuff? Just so
so apparently somebody from Pumpfun's inside chats took all the chat logs and brought them to the courts. So like they're fucked, right? Like that's my understanding. I think this is public on Twitter. Like there's been a few tweets about it. Go read through the cases, but one of their insiders or one of the core people apparently took all of this information and all the chat logs and everything and brought it to the court. So so anything they've been doing should be basically looked into at this point. But one of the big cases is basically what I'm talking about. So using alt accounts, using botnets, attacking competitors. Like I'm basically like the top example at this point. Like, so all this stuff, everything I'm talking about is true, I believe will be legal to some extent.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Spicy.
I didn't know what exactly they were getting pressed about. But yeah.
And are you a part of this lawsuit, or is it just something that you know about?
I'll say for the context of this conversation, it's something I know about. I had one conversation relating to exactly myself specifically, but the rest is not decided. I don't really feel like doing the work, but I'm not opposed to it, I guess. But yeah, anyway, they've had a lot of those kinds of conversations. I believe there's a lot of parts of their case that feel like kind of flimsy to me, which is part of like my apprehension, like flog, what is it, Libra, like a lot of stuff like that. Like some of these cases go to the point of like being a lawsuit against like decentralization or crypto. That's what I don't like, because it's like I love crypto, I love meme coins, but then there is, I believe, one specific case where it's all about the like slander attacks. Like that's the one where it's like I feel like that's like justice. I feel like Pumpfun should be sued for that, and I think that they should lose a lot of money for that. So
You mentioned
I
Fog there. What does Fog have to do with it?
maybe it was Flog. I can't remember, but yeah, bunch of big meme coins. Ratcon was one, right? If you remember Fred the Ratcon,
Yeah.
that was mentioned one. So I've read through all this.
The Raccoon? I thought
Yeah,
it was raccoon.
Well, there was.
Raccoon. Raccoon.
It is pronounced raccoon. Yeah, you remember the one? It was spelled. No. It is.
I think Lex is right. I think it was spelt like that on purpose. Yeah.
That's right.
Man, I didn't know Pump were in that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's messy, man. It's messy. They have a lot of stuff, but I think particularly like when it comes to the on-chain manipulation, targeting of different traders on-chain via market makers, and the slander and like the public, flogging of different people. I think that is where they are guilty.
They're in a bit of a tough spot, like, as in like they promised the airdrop as well, and a lot of people were waiting for that for months, and it's never really materialized. I think that
Yeah,
sort
man,
of like
what
weighing over
happened?
their head.
We all have officially forgot about the airdrop, huh?
Yeah,
It's just not happening, I suppose.
yeah, figment of people's imagination.
The weird thing about that is, why announce it if you weren't going to do it? Like,
Mhm.
why didn't they just not say they were going to do it?
Because it would have been brushed under the carpet by now, and everyone would have forgot. And like everyone had just accepted there's no airdrop. It's a bit like who done it as well, Photon. They said they were going to airdrop and then just never did, and I think they made 400 million this cycle. So, yeah.
I think for them is they put a lot of their own capital into it, and they've just been selling into the buy volume from the revenue. And I imagine that they just weren't fully. I think they kind of fucked it up a little bit. That's kind of what I've heard, but I could be wrong. I think they just hadn't fully secured the position they wanted, and now all this legal stuff is starting, and they know if they give an airdrop out, the chart's gonna just like nosedive. So that's probably the reason.
I don't know.
Those are probably some of the shadier buybacks we've seen. The whole revenue buyback, and it's like, there's a lot of VCs and early employees and everything who need to finish exiting their positions, and it very convenient that the buybacks have provided some cushion there. But
Yep. Yeah, one of the VCs I believe was involved in some of the stuff behind the scenes. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. It's just messy. I wish I wish it was better targeted. I mean, worst time to suddenly be uplifted to mindshare in all of CT history,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you went from what, like a few thousand followers a year ago to whatever you're at now. I have no idea. What are you at now? 100K now, Lex?
Like 90K, yeah, almost 100.
Jesus.
Do you like that you have a larger following, or is there a part of you that wishes you were still kind of operating under the radar? How do you feel about you're obviously, you've grown to become a bigger figure in the space and a name that is well known?
Yeah. I think I would have preferred to stay around 30-40K. I think that's the sweet spot. And that would be my advice to like most people is like, if you get around 30-40K, that's probably a good time to cap it, to just go private, because beyond that, you're not really gaining a lot. Like at 30-40K, if you're a good trader and you share good plays, like you have the important people following you for the most part, you have motion, like enough to like, be able to and stuff. But beyond that, you're getting a lot of people that don't know you, and that changes the whole dynamic. So I definitely miss the before times.
Mm. Yeah, your come up was quite quick, wasn't it? It felt like overnight you fucking just blew up on Twitter, especially when you were around like the Vape Cabal shit when they started pushing you and that was crazy.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't expected. I mean, it was never something I like sought out, you know. So now that it's happened, it's like, okay, I guess I have to keep going in this direction, wherever that may be. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see where things go, but I do miss.
Do you plan to stay in the space, Lex, and continue trading and being like a character in the trenches, or is there like a thought of you like, I've made enough money, I don't need to do this anymore, or is your full intention to stick around and keep grinding this out?
Prior to the Pumpfun smear campaign, the space was beautiful and I loved it and it was fun. But it's really hard seeing a lot of people that you like love and care about kind of tunnel just because the environment rewards that, right? Which is what it was, right? The environment very much rewarded any kind of hate. So seeing that, I mean, that's just human nature. That's how it works, especially when you put money into the equation. That's the reality of life. It's the reality of people. It's just difficult when you've seen that. So I don't know. Part of me has aspirations to just graduate to, being more of like, like pursuing like a social media platform or, making apps or, I'll always be in crypto to some extent. I'll probably be here forever anyways, but, I've been exploring like, stuff outside. Like I've been working with a group on like a social media platform and, like I am entertaining other stuff, I guess I would say.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, all this ugly stuff with Pumpfun we've been talking about, do you think like the death of, I don't want to say the death of meme coins, but the downward spiral where, everything really, the game started to feel solved and it became a really, really tough PvP environment and there just weren't a lot of like explosive runners. Do you think that was inevitable and it just kind of played out its course? Or do you think if Pumpfun had acted differently in regards to some of the stuff you're talking about and really kept it about like how it was early where they just support coins and it was kind of the engagement vibes, like do you think things could have gone differently or was this like an inevitable end state?
I think it would have went differently. I mean, if you think about innovation, right, it comes through PvP. It comes from people competing on a fair ground, and a lot of the good stuff that's come about in the last few months only came about because of Bonk, choosing to go against Pump. If they never did, they would have maintained their stranglehold, and we wouldn't have had any innovation. So, I mean, we've had many instances of people wanting to innovate or trying to innovate and being met with smear campaigns and hatred and ugliness. So I think 100% the ugly stuff that's happening right now is absolutely the result of Pump. I've spoken with a few people that like have dealt with some of the same stuff that I have, and are like suicidal and very unhappy. And, if those people stop existing in the near future, I would blame Pumpfun, anyway, it's dark, but I think now that people understand what's going on, we have Bonk, USD1, we're starting to see actual competition. I think we're going to see stuff come out that actually makes the space better again. And once it does, then everybody is going to realize how responsible Pump was for this like lull and for this low liquidity. I mean, a lot of it just comes down to the bonding curve, right? Like a lot of it is just like the bonding curve is solved. The liquidity is low. Yeah. We need something different, but we're not allowed to,
Do you think that is next up? Like, do you think that's next then? Like Bonk sort of start to dominate with this whole USD1 stuff, and do you think that's what takes over next and Pumpfun sort of fake? Because it's still a split right now. People still trade pumps, people still trade Bonk. It's sort of no one really cares what launchpad it comes from anymore. But do you think Bonk sort of owns that space now?
It's getting better. I don't think it will. Maybe Bonk, but I don't think Bonk. I think USD1. I think the money that comes in from World Liberty Foundation and the support there. But I think it will be a blend of launch pads. I think we're hopefully getting to a period of launchpad, people being launchpad agnostic, where it can be anywhere. The big issue is Bonk still has this issue with trusting culture and choosing to invest in that. And I see that still a problem today. I mean, again, SPSC is not an issue there. Like that is in my opinion one of the best coins to come out like this entire cycle. Like it's awesome.
What is it called?
Shit piss skin can.
That's the best coin you've seen this cycle.
When I saw WLFI shill shit piss skin can, I nearly started crying in laughter. It was the most comical thing.
Lex, that can't. That can't be the best point about that. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
It's one of them. It's one of them. Well, let me explain my thinking, right?
Okay.
Because if you really look at the content, right, they've created such incredible content that's so high quality. It feels like a South Park episode. And someone said that, like, if this gets to a certain market cap, they could get some South Park studio or something. Like, and since someone said that, in my mind, I've been thinking, like, if the South Park guys made a meme coin, this is what they'd make. And I almost wonder if they did make it. I don't know, but it just feels so.
How much do you own, man?
It doesn't matter what we're talking about. Lex has a conspiracy theory ready for us, man.
It's not I mean, I don't think they actually do, but that's, like, in my mind, that connection makes sense just because that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more like creatively, those two things are aligned. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. They do, to be fair, they do work hard. Let's stop shitting on them.
But they need more of that, whatever that is. I think that came from Mello, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I see some barriers they still have, but if they keep putting their trust into people like Mello and they keep, going in that direction, then yes. But I think other than that, I think a variety of launch pads will just break down this wall. No one will care anymore. And that is when, like, real innovation will, like, continue and thrive, in my opinion.
And innovation in the form of shit piss skink can. We can only be so lucky. All right, guys, we've been going for like an hour and a half now. I'm gonna cut us off here.
Sorry, guys.
No,
Lex,
dude,
thank you,
this was
man. This
so
was
much
really
fun. We'll have to have you back again, chat. This was really fun. Lex, when we're done, if you can just stay on the stream, and don't click out of it, once we need to download your content. But guys, great episode. That was fun. Thanks, Lex. Again, the stream's brought to you all by FOMO. Go download it now. Use promo code RISKON or promo code Lexapro Trader.
Lexapro, yeah, there you go.
You can pick whichever one you like. We are promo code agnostic here. I've been trading on an alt there, and that's been good for me. The one thing about FOMO, and I'll just shill quickly, is it's not just like a great social platform, but it's also just a great trading platform with the multi-chain stuff. And so, like, even though I've been kind of like not loving trading on Docs wallets for a bit now, I'm still using it on an alt because it's just such a better trading experience than for me, at least. So even if you're not in it for the social stuff, check it out for just the platform.
Yeah, just before we end here, actually, thoughts on FOMO as an app, Lex? Because you've been in the space a long time. You've been trading a long time. What's your thoughts?
I love it. In fact, I was, like, super bummed I didn't end up getting a position because it's just so well done, man. The branding, like, I actually tried to stalk and find a designer for that. Not stalk, but I was like, who the fuck made this? Because the branding is excellent. Anyways, it's really good, man. I love it. It's beautiful.
Great to hear.
Good. All right. Well, sweet guys, we're going to wrap up here. We'll be back Friday. We'll announce that episode tomorrow, Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern. Until then, have a good rest of your day, guys, and we'll talk soon.